Hey everyone, let's take a look at the Fire Command Truck by LEGO City. Set number 60374 contains about 502 bricks. Put out those fires. Yeah, so this doesn't look too bad. This is pretty interesting actually. So here we have a fire truck with, well, you know what those are right there. Looks like stud launchers. That's a new way to put out fires, I guess, in LEGO City. So here's the back of the box, and you can see all the various actions that we could do with this set. So looks like we do all this cool stuff with this fire truck. But how cool is this fire truck? Well, let's just head over to the Lego table and see what it looks like. Let's begin the tour with our accessories. Let's start with the minifigures. So here we have this firefighter. Nice print work for the torso. It's got the oxygen tanks and the breathing apparatus. And that controller right there is printed. Pretty cool. This one here is wearing more of a traditional firefighter outfit. So she's obviously heavily detailed with graphics on both front and back of the torso. I like that helmet piece, it's pretty cool. Looks like what a real firefighter would wear. And here we have what I think is a workman. And I think he's the one that fixes the fallen radio tower. And his print work is on the front and back, and yes, that's a dude. That's what the manual showed. And then here we got a few other things. We got this flame piece here. I'll show you where that goes in a bit. And we have some kind of big, large, oversized drone with stud launchers. So these do pop off here if you don't want to use the stud launchers. Getting these off could be a bit of a chore, but they do come off. And the reason being is because the next one we have to look at is this ground robot thing. And this has an arm that extends out and moves and swivels and all that stuff. That's basically what it is. And this does come off too. This one's a little easier. You can just pop that off. And basically what you can do is you can just interchange these parts. Let's see right here, you can have this come and pick things up. So LEGO thought this out very well. Now I'm having a hard time removing that. So how do you get that out? You just have to force it off. So I'm going to leave it the way it was because it's just usually better. There's also one on the fire truck that can fit on these too. It has a winch. And we'll take a look at that in a later segment. So yeah, some of these pieces are interchangeable. We'll fold that back up. And here is a part of a forest. That's what this piece goes to here. And basically you just sit this on here and pretend like there's a fire going on, and the fire truck that we will be taking a look at will be able to knock this down. And plus this tree can fall down and miss the rabbit. It does come with a little rabbit figure here. She's just barely tacked in there, and that's what she looks like. Looks like a little, maybe a jackrabbit, not sure. Set her back in the burning tree where it's safe, well, for her anyways. Have the tree fall down. This next one here is some sort of radio tower. That's what I'm gathering, maybe a cell phone tower. And it's got high voltage and stuff, and this is what the handyman's supposed to try to fix. And of course it can fall down and it catches on fire. Pretty crude, but it works. And then the last thing we have to look at here is this ladder, and this just basically sits like this. It's just meant to go on top of the fire truck, or you can take it off. So it's not an extension ladder. And it's hard for the minifigures to even hang on to this. There's really no way to hold on unless you do something like this. It's almost the same diameter and thickness as a, well, you're going to have to drop the wrench. Well, this is the workman, but see, I'm having a hard time even getting that on there. So I think the ladder is just for looks. Let's put that wrench back in his hand. I don't want to lose that. And how I know it's a guy, because of the mustache. Alright, so that's a big hint there. And yeah, so I would say that this is a good amount of accessories for the fire truck. Now let's have a look at the fire truck, and this is what it looks like without all the accessories on it. So on the top we have this stud launcher cannon thing. This is meant to launch water at its targets. And here's the cab. It's like it can seat up to 4 figures. We got ourselves a little saw here, and these little side compartments do open up. And we can park our little robot in there, so we just have it drive up in there. As long as the arm is folded up, it should just fit right in, which it does. And then we can just close that up. So that's a great place to store that. Here's the front of the rig, and we got ourselves a little winch on the front of this. Now this does detach, and you could probably use this for the drones or the robot. And this does, you know, come out and stuff like that. It looks better without it, but I leave it on there just so I don't lose it. You just got to make sure you get these things to line up correctly. There's really no guide in here. There we go. And this thing does extend out maybe about 10 or so inches. And just don't pull it. So you can just do that right there. And then when we're done. And there's no knot to tie to. It's just connected with the stud. So this thing's going to be a bit stubborn now since I'm doing the video. For the most part, it's nice. I wish they didn't use this light blue transparent windshield. I don't understand why they did that. And here's the other side. This is what the other side of the door opens up looks like. So you can open that up too. And doors open up and stuff like that. And of course your fireman can grab onto these bars. Now the cab does open up on this model. And we'll take a look at the inside. And just like with all the vehicles, they use this little steering wheel right in there for that big truck. Here they got a computer, so maybe they're using this to navigate where all the fires are at. And it looks like it seats up to 4 firefighters, but it doesn't. We're just going to set these guys in here. We'll have her drive the truck because she doesn't have the radio. And they just sit right down in there. Okay. You don't need to really force them down in there. And this one here, you can take out the radio, put him in there too. So yeah, they do fit in there. This one seems like he's being stubborn. Probably because he's got the oxygen tank on. You can just set him in there. And then the radio, we can just kind of set this somewhere here too. And there's plenty of storage. Now will this go back on? We'll find out here in a second. And there you go. So both our firefighters inside the rig. And here we have the back of the rig right here. Now here's where you store all your studs at. So pull one of these out. And this has this kind of a milky look to it. And you can see where it's kind of got this really metallic blue on there. But it's kind of opaque. This is meant to be some kind of water or flame retardant stuff. This one here is just full of regular transparent blue studs. And this is probably for water levels and stuff. Probably that's flame retardant, this is water. And these also double up as storage too. So you can just come in here and these just drop out and you would load these up in your launcher there. That's pretty cool. Same thing with this one. And you can just do that and they just fall right out. It's got that weird blue tint to it. So this thing doubles up as storage too. So this is really nice. This is a really finished off truck. Now here's the top of the vehicle. And we'll take a look here. It's not really much going on. But this doubles up as even more storage. So here we have our drone, or we'll set that right in there. Snaps right into place. Just have to wiggle it in and get it positioned just right. And then we can take our extension ladder and set that right on there. Okay, that's how you'd put that in and fold the ladder down. And now it looks pretty good. It looks like it has an extension ladder. Now, The only thing that I see that's missing on this fire truck is hoses. I wish there was probably a hose or two that was included in this model. But it is a pretty nice self-contained build. And what I mean by self-contained is that you can put this in a Lego City pretty easily. And it does roll smooth on a flat surface. So honestly, despite of what this is, it's a nice fire truck. Now for the review and my thoughts on this set. The build experience was pretty good. It was a bit on the slower side, but the manuals were easy to follow, and everything was broken down in such a way that you could possibly hand a manual off to another partner and you can build along. So like manuals 1 and 2 built all the accessories, and manual 3 built the large fire truck. So that's pretty much how it was broken down. But for me, it kept my interest. It was something I wanted to build. It was fun to put together, and everything's brightly colorful and nice, and even with the stuff that's burning down, it was still a pretty fun build. For the build quality, the fire truck is pretty sturdy. And when you're putting this thing together, you have to be careful because sometimes it will tip and stuff like that. So when you're pressing bricks down and building this, make sure you have a good firm hold on this. And there is some loose pieces. Obviously the stud launcher here and all the other stuff that you can get lost, like these flame pieces. This one just sits on here. This one is barely sitting on. So this stuff here could easily get lost. So this is something to take note of when you're building this set. So some of these tools and accessories are not anchored down securely, so you have to be careful with it. And this stud launcher here is dangerous. So I don't even like messing around with it. I just have it in there for demonstration purposes. This set can be dropped in a Lego City, so obviously the fire truck, this little robot, and maybe these two items here. You may have to kind of blend these in with terrain and stuff like that, but for the most part, this whole set can be integrated into a Lego City. What about MOX? Well, you can build a fire station with it, or maybe add more terrain, or expand things, or even make a whole new model out of this. So you could actually make this in a MOX. There's plenty of pieces where you can do so. And for the play value, there's a lot of play value with this. So not only that you can put the minifigures inside the truck, but you got the ladder that's removable and all this stuff. The stud launcher, you can actually shoot these things off, have a little target practice there. But yeah, for the most part, this is a playable model. So my opinions on this set, it's really good. Not the best fire truck I have seen, but it is a playable model. And maybe for a score, I'm going to say about 9, maybe 9 to 10. There wasn't that many stickers on this build, so that was pretty good, but still I would like to see it printed a bit more than just having stickers. Overall, I'm happy with it. So tell me what you think of this build. This is a pretty good set.